And the ghost of Johnny Carson comes to haunt us as we populate the world with fruitcake. Hi there. Welcome, everybody. Once again, it is time for YouTube Live on Cast Iron Wednesday, where, as a lot of the folks here know, a whole bunch of cooking channels on YouTube have had something of a tradition going, where on Wednesday we do cast iron videos, cast iron cooking, cast iron restoration, basically just playing around with our cast iron pots and pans. And I've been doing this myself for the past year, or more than a year, in fact, and I've had a lot of fun doing it. So again, I can only definitely say thank you very much to everybody who has shown up. And yeah, there do seem to be a lot of people here, including some names I've never seen before, like Flash 1499. Hello, Sam Cook. I've seen you before. Christopher Omiara, Melissa Hadfield, Jose Latios. Cooking with Bobby Joe. Hello again, and welcome back, everybody, because yes, I do know, as promised, we have a giveaway contest tonight. The giveaway contest officially started when this YouTube Live went live, and the contest will officially end when this live video ends. We've done these we've done these giveaways before, and so as I've mentioned here, we do have some rules. I do have some rules here that I do have to make announce to everybody to make this, I guess, a legal contest for whatever that's worth. And that starts by mentioning the sponsor of this channel or the sponsor of this giveaway contest, rather. And the sponsor of this giveaway contest is Cast Iron Chaos, myself. The prize, which, yes, indeed, is a cast iron cake pan or Bundt pan, although technically not a Bundt pan, that is, in fact, coming from my own collection. It was not provided to me by a sponsor or advertiser or anything like that. I'll be telling that story in a few, as we go along tonight. And as for where the prize is, it's in the oven, in fact, right now. We have prepared a fruitcake already. It has been in the oven for just about an hour, in fact, and will be finished in about 30 minutes. So we'll be taking it out of the oven in about 30 minutes or so everybody can see it. And that will indeed be the prize, and that the rules of the contest, as I mentioned as well, if the prize is valued at over $600, I am required to report this to the IRS. Well, although there have been some cast iron cake pans that have been listed on eBay at prices more than $600, usually the ones with the Griswold name on them. This one I can safely say is nowhere near that that level, so there is no worry about it there. We will be doing the rules of this contest will be, again, thank you very much to everybody who has shown up here in the live chat. As we mentioned, what we ask you to do is to click that good old subscribe button. Where is that? I can't even see it here on this live window here. Anyway, click that subscribe button, please, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much. My channel does not have paid subscriptions. I have no intention of starting paid subscriptions because this has been a hobby and I really do this for the fun of it, and it has been a lot of fun. And during the course of this live session, anytime from the beginning to the end, we do ask that folks type that at least once type the secret word into the chat here. That's how we're going to manage the contest. This is especially to discourage spammers or people who think they can show up and say, hi, and then disappear and then think that they're being entered into the contest. It doesn't work that way, actually. I mean, you do actually have to read the secret word in order to, or rather, you have to type the secret word into the chat in order to just be entered into the contest. You only need to type the secret word once. You could type it more than once if you want. That will not enter you multiple times into the contest. So please don't try spamming the channel. Don't flood the channel because that will not affect your chances at all. And in fact, it will probably get you kicked out. So again, we ask rather. This is and this is again my homage to Groucho and You Bet Your Life. Whereas his saying was say the secret word, win $100. Well, in my case, even though this pen may be worth more than $100, depending on how it might be sold. The best I could say is type the secret word, be entered into the contest, because we will be tallying up the names of everyone who has typed the secret word, and from there we will see. We will gather these together and do a fair and honest random drawing to determine who the winner is of this cast iron cake pan. Have we locked up? I really have. No. Okay, good. We have not locked up because I noticed the chat had stopped scrolling at that point. So I just want to be sure. And in addition to all this, we're also here to have some fun. So please, we do encourage everybody to have some fun and chat about cast iron and also about what we're making tonight, which would be fruitcake. Yes, fruitcake. Oh no, please. Yeah, here come, look out, everybody. Fruitcake jokes are coming.
It's a prank. No, it's a fruitcake.
Yeah. And yeah, actually, here's the thing. Just a couple of weeks ago or so, the day before Thanksgiving, in fact, I actually made my annual Walmart fruitcake sighting. In that every year I try to note the date when we first see the fruitcake sightings at Walmart. Yeah, I know. And yes, well, we actually tried it, and the strange thing is that fruitcake was dry. How
the first 4 or 5 pieces in on either side.
Yes.
Like 3 good pieces in the middle.
Yeah. How the heck can you make a dry fruitcake? That must explain why those fruitcakes at Walmart have such an incredibly long expiration date, though. The expiration date is something like next June, which makes you wonder how in the world are they going to make that when last that long, especially since fruitcakes are supposed to be soaked in rum. And yet that was the expiration date without the rum.
Preservatives. Preservatives.
Yes, indeed.
Hi, everybody.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I'm a little
Hello,
loopy.
hello,
sick.
Peg Tooth. Oh yes, Jamie unfortunately is still sick. I'm sorry to say. Last week it was the flu. This week it is bronchitis. She's recovering from bronchitis and has passed me on a nice head cold.
Well, you gave me the
Yeah.
flu, so
Yeah.
we're even.
Oh yeah, so we're even.
Yeah,
So
no paybacksies.
yes, indeed.
What not it?
So anyway, that is going to be our little chat tonight. We're talking about fruitcake. Folks, please feel free to type the secret word into the chat, which is, as you see, is related to fruitcake. I mean, after all, fruitcake is really the modern day version of the original British Christmas pudding. So the big difference, well, there are two differences. I'll mention this, and then we're going to get down to some preparation here. Because we're going to be making another fruitcake as this passes by. Yes, we're actually doing more than one fruitcake. You know the old joke, there is only one fruitcake, and it is passed from generation to generation all around the world. Well, we are breaking that cardinal rule, and we are actually going to be making at least 2 fruitcakes tonight, maybe more. However, this particular fruitcake, I'm proud to say this is a fruitcake that I think people will actually want to eat and they will enjoy it. I mean, I've said a number of times about some of my recipes. I'm proud of this recipe. There are some recipes I'm still practicing and still trying to get right, including things like cast iron pizza, for instance, which comes out okay, but not great. Well, this fruitcake here is a recipe that I have actually dubbed magical fruitcake. And I call it that because the magic is the fact that you will want to eat it, and it is delicious. And the key reason for that is that we do not use that disgusting artificial radioactive fruitcake mix that comes in these huge containers at Wally World. So no, we are using much better stuff. And I think, and with that, yeah, fruitcake is delicious, says Tricky Vicky and me and Dr. M. I'm not sure if I'd like pudding, but I would like to make the tunnel of fudge. Well, yes, please feel free. And that's actually pretty tricky. William Hurt, candied fruit has never appealed to me, but I have met some fruitcakes I actually like. Yes, actually, let me show you one thing. This is the secret to a good fruitcake or even a good Christmas pudding. And that is that if you are going to use this candied fruit peel, please get the good stuff, the stuff that's made locally and you can probably find at a good independent bakery or international market or somewhere like that. Not the stuff that's been prepackaged and sitting in storage for 5 years or so before it went there. I mean, heck, we ate a number of these candied orange peels ourselves because, yeah, they are pretty darn good. These things actually taste like orange. So, I mean, that's so. What can we say? So. We've got a whole bunch of other. Okay, let's turn our camera over around a little bit here and bring the view down a little bit. Yeah, because we do have a whole bunch of other fruits we're going to be putting into this cake, including some dried fruits that I've chopped up. What do we have here? We have some dates, some dried apricots, dried cranberries, and even dried pineapple. Usually, I don't use the pineapple in the fruit cake. Not that I don't like it, I do, but I've been a pineapple. I haven't felt to be very traditional. However, this year in particular, as you know, supplies of everything seem to be extremely low, and so pretty much I have to use what we can get. I've also chopped up a fresh apple. This was a Granny Smith apple to add that. We've got about a cup or more here of some regular raisins and some golden raisins or sultanas. Here are the candied orange peels, all chopped up nice to go. And also, there's one thing as well. We've got some candied ginger to mix in. So, yeah, that plus the spices that'll be going into this. This is not going to be a bland fruitcake.
What's
And
really good is ginger. You take candy ginger and you have the dates. You put a
mhm.
little piece of candy ginger and you put it inside the date.
Yeah,
That's wicked good.
yeah, that's true. I mean, this is
Or eat apricots too.
yeah, this is Jamie's tip. Those dried dates that you can get, at least the ones where they've been pitted and the pits have been taken out. What you do is you actually stuff a piece of the candied ginger inside the date and eat it all together, and that really, yeah, and that really gives you a nice flavor
The
for that.
apricot
So.
too. The apricot and
Mhm.
the ginger comes out really well too.
Yeah. And
those
Kenneth
Ginger
C.
dipped in Nutella is wicked good too.
Yeah, and like the turkey pot pie, and thank you very, very much. But as I said, let's get going here and do some talking about talk about the prize, the cast iron Bundt pan. But before we do so, okay,
So you guys, I'm not feeling very well, so I'm just gonna say goodnight for tonight.
yeah,
may probably
Jamie's
be
not
back
feeling
here, but
well.
I'm really not feeling good.
That's
So sorry, guys.
all right. Well, we will see you again next week. So.
Okay.
Okay, one thing this recipe calls for some softened butter. So that's one good reason to use a number 3 size cast iron skillet. So that's something right there. Yeah, people wonder what are these things good for? Well, among other things, they are the world's greatest butter softeners or melters, whichever you prefer. Um, okay, and having said that, as I said, let's talk a little bit more again about the cake pan that is not a Bundt pan. It's in the oven again. It'll be coming out. Oh man, we've already been talking almost 15 minutes. I'm going to be taking it out of the oven at 8:30 in about another 15 minutes or a little bit more than that. But anyway, I've already lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, that's right. It is actually not a Bundt pan, and the reason why is two reasons. Number one, of course, the word Bundt is actually trademarked by Nordic Ware, who they're the ones who introduced the Bundt pan, and that has something of a history in itself that we've gone over before. They introduced it in 1950. Nobody cared for 15 years, 16 years, I think it was, in fact. Not many people even cared about this new fancy cake pan. Not until the appearance of the tunnel of fudge cake recipe, which took the country by storm. It became one of those gigantic food fads, the kind. The kind that everybody has to do, like baked Alaska used to be, like Angus beef of several years back. Everybody was into it, and then everybody was into the tunnel of fudge, and that really made the Bundt pan and the Bundt cake a household name. which it continues to be even today. Because, as you know, anybody who does any kind of serious baking in their kitchen has got to have a bundt cake pan. But this particular pan, however, actually was probably produced at least a couple of decades before they came out with the Bundt pan. So even though the shape is very familiar and people call it a Bundt pan, it's not really a Bundt pan. It's actually a cast iron cake pan. That's a very brief description of it. I'll show it to you again once it comes out of the oven and and we actually flip out the cake. I've put so much baker's goop into that pan that I'm not too worried about the cake sticking. Yeah. And furthermore, anyway, that's one other thing I'm proud of this recipe. It gives you a very thick and heavy fruitcake, so much so that again, it's almost guaranteed to come out of the pan, and it's not really likely to stick. On the other hand, this cake also rises terrific, and you will see that when it comes out of there. Okay, now then let's having said that, Debbie Vogel, I think I found a BSR 7S corn stick pan in my local Goodwill store. Hey, nice find. Yeah, congratulations for that. So, if you were to make your best dish, what would it be? Hard to say. Maybe my Boston baked beans. That is something I've been saying for years. I'm really proud of that dish. Although there are quite a few other things I've enjoyed making, including figgy pudding, which we'll get to at another time. I mean, we're already talking about some kinds of pudding here. By the way, folks, don't forget as well, be sure to type the secret word at least once. But anyway, as I said, we'll be getting around to figgy pudding at some point soon. Right now, though, instead of just talking, let's do some baking. That was dumb. Okay, and let's get let me move this a little closer here so that we can get ourselves, there we go, a better view here. That's not bad, I think. Okay, now that means I gotta pull up this recipe again because even though I put it together, I don't have it memorized. That's why I put it on my website. Let's bring this up as quickly as we can. Here it is. Yeah, by the way, as I mentioned on my website, this is my recipe here for what I call magical fruitcake on my Cast Iron Chaos website. And I do hope folks are interested enough to give it a try. We've already chopped up the fruit. This butter here is definitely nice and soft, and it's probably about half melted at this point. So we start out with, actually, I better pull this up as well while we're at it. The spatula. Okay, good. This is warm, but it's not going to burn me. So there we go. This is definitely some softened butter. No question about that. And there we go. Let's get this all in here. To this, we will then add a cup of brown sugar. Yeah, this fruit cake, in addition to everything else, is probably one of the easiest cakes in the world to make. You quite literally just mix everything together in a big pan or in a bowl, including all of that fruit and all of those ingredients. And then you just bake it in the oven. This is very slightly less than 1 cup, so I'm going to have to quickly break open a little bit more brown sugar. Where did I put that? Yeah, I know. Here comes the chaos part. I got some more brown sugar just tonight, and now, of course, I'm having trouble locating it. Boy, what a surprise. All right, well, I know I have it. However, right now, I guess we're just going to have to substitute a little bit of regular sugar. Oh, damn it. Yeah. Okay, try that again. We're going to have to substitute a little bit of regular sugar in its place. Yeah, I've heard legends about some of the mishaps that happened on Julia Child's show. I am nowhere near her class, and I'm sure my mishaps would probably be a lot more interesting than hers, in fact. So, anyway, we got about a cup here of sugar. I could probably even throw in a little molasses to make that even. But from that, we also break in 4 eggs. And then we get to cream all this stuff together. 1. For the record, this is another thing I learned from Alton Brown, as he says, always crack your eggs. Don't crack your eggs on the bowl. The main reason is the edge or the rim of the bowl will force tiny pieces of shell into the egg and make it that much harder to keep from getting shell into your cake. So I took that lesson to heart, and instead I make sure to always break my eggs on the outside. On the outside of the bowl. What is going on now? Okay. And the last one. There we go. So this is going to be the base of our cake. So let's get started here and cream away. Could use a mixer, of course. It would probably do a better job, in fact, but I have never had any problem making this cake by hand. Even though, again, even though the cream part of the batter here with this eggs and everything like that does still have a few little lumps in it, this all ends up dissolving, and what you end up with is a nice cake. Again, I am confident enough that when the cake comes out of the oven, you will see that for yourself. So, especially considering that they've been making Christmas puddings for all these centuries. Yeah, centuries, in fact. And they only had electric mixers for what? Maybe the past 100 years, or maybe 120 years at most. So you can be sure folks were mixing it by hand for pretty much most of the history of this thing. And if you've heard anything at all about the history of Christmas puddings in England, you'll know that it is actually quite a fascinating history. And boy, you get is there a lot of politics and religion and everything else all built up into it. I did a video several years ago, poor quality admittedly, but still, in which I made a Christmas pudding. And yeah, you notice I'm saying Christmas pudding, but again, that's only because I'm encouraging folks to type the secret word into the chat. But nonetheless, what was I saying? Oh yeah, which gave a very brief description of the history of the Christmas pudding. You know, the whole bit about it supposed to have 13 ingredients, and you're supposed to stir it from east to west. Although how you can figure what clockwise or counterclockwise is, east or west, is beyond me. And all sorts of other things. The famous part, for instance, I've got to do 7 half cups or 3.5 cups. So 1, hey, 7 is a lucky number too. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. But anyway, you've heard the famous part that during the brief reign of Oliver Cromwell, that they actually banned Christmas puddings in Britain because they considered it to be, a form of pagan idolatry and other fun stuff like that. Despite all of that history, well, what can we say? Puddings are still around. However, of course, these days now, most people just simply make cake, such as fruitcake. And for the record, the big difference between a pudding and cake was the fact that puddings were usually made with breadcrumbs or even bread pieces, like bread pudding, in fact. Whereas on the other hand, of course, cakes are made with flour. Cakes will rise in the oven. Puddings don't rise very much. Puddings, at least up until recently, were always steamed, whereas cakes, of course, are baked in an oven, which I guess you could say would be another sign, that is, of the elite and the rich, because for most of that history, Families really could not afford things like an actual baking, and a place just for baking. They had the fireplace in the home where they did all of their cooking and a lot of other activities as well. Now, this we do have a lot more liquid to go into this, and that would include. Okay, so far we've done the flour, eggs, and the butter. So now oh, I forgot a little bit of salt. Sorry, always forget that little bit. Where here it is. What time is it at this point? It is. Hey, as a matter of fact, we only have about 5 minutes. Only a tiny bit of salt. There we go. We only have about 5 minutes left before the cake comes out of the oven. So that should be fun in itself. I'm gonna have to find out where to put it. Oh, I know where to put it. Not to worry. But after the salt, oh, good grief. Why is this thing not charging? All right. Okay, I hope this doesn't. Whoops, what the heck did I do? Oh, great. Okay. Sorry about that. Must have actually tripped a circuit breaker. I hope that, well, fortunately, the cake is about to come out of the oven here. We have got okay. Oh yeah, that's right. We've got to do some baking soda and baking powder, which actually I should have put in before I mixed it. So I'm already off to a great start here. Yeah, and this is one reason why I encourage folks to chat as well, because because I'm so busy doing this. Unfortunately, I only have a little bit of time to go to the comments, and I do apologize for that because the comments are really what make this so much fun. I'll take a breather in a moment. 1, 2. Come on. 3. There's a cup and a half. No, cup and a half. Teaspoon and a half, that is, of baking powder. 1.5 teaspoons of baking soda. And then after I mix that in, I think it'll be time for the other cake to come out of the oven. 1, 2, and 3. There we go. Now that pretty much takes care of our dry ingredients. After that, we'll be getting into the wet ingredients, and that's where the fun begins. Okay, but this would also be a good time to set this aside because it is time for the cake, the other cake that is, to come out of the oven. Thank you, everybody, for waiting this long. Can't forget these nuts anyway. Almost forgot the nuts. Let's move this out of the way. And I've actually got to move this back because we are too close to the oven door right now. So this is what I get for being in a small and non-professional kitchen. I do not have anything like you might see in Joshua Wiseman's kitchen, unfortunately. I'm sorry to say. Well, I have a couple of things, but the oven is not one of them. However, oh, oh my word. Okay, let's get this out right now and I'll show you. Oh boy. There we are. Did I mention this cake? This recipe rises terrific. Oh, good grief. So I didn't want to drop that in the sink. Okay, let's do this. Now, not a bad result at all, considering you can see this thing has raised, especially in the center, all the way up over the center, in fact. I only filled this thing maybe about 3/4 of the way or so, so this thing has risen fantastic. What's more, it looks like it's pulling away from the sides too. So as I said, I'm not worried at all about actually taking this out of the pan. Nonetheless, this is what the finished fruitcake is going to look like. And I wanted to do this first, especially so that usually when preparing these things on the live video ends before the cake is finished. So this time I wanted to be sure that we had it ready for you. And in addition, this is our cast iron cake pan. You see these very small handles here on the side. Based on the shape of this, initially I identified this as a Wagner or an unmarked Wagner cake pan, because apparently that's what Wagner pans were shaped like. Um, Discussion with other heavy duty cast iron historians have suggested that this may actually be a recast, namely that an unknown company or party or someone actually used the design of a Wagner mold or a Wagner cake pan to produce their own pans. And this turned out to be one of them. Well, regardless, I can only say that I've gotten a lot of use out of this pan, and it has served me well. I really have no complaints about it. And the person who actually wins this will certainly have no complaints either. So, all right. But anyway, yeah. So, oh, you're seeing it on the live? Mm-hmm. Yes, as you can see. Boy, did this thing turn out okay, I think.
Oh my god, I can't wait. Oh my god.
I'd better as well, before I do anything else, if you don't mind, let me quickly snap at least. Oh, my phone is about to die too. So let me snap at least one picture. Yeah, let me. What? Okay, let me snap at least one photo of this. Yeah, we are definitely. Yeah, there it goes again. Don't you love the wiring in this place? Oh, there goes my phone. Well, I did manage to get a couple at least. So.
I gotta put it over here. Over here. Sorry.
That's all right. Okay. All right. Now, having done this, though. Okay. So, yeah. Oh, yes, that's butter. So, yes. So, yeah. Okay.
No, I know it's just butter.
Yeah, because.
I just ate a mouthful of it.
Mm-hmm. All right. But anyway, as I said, this is the cast iron cake pan. Okay. Yeah, I am quite happy with this, how this turned out. Yes, it has to rest in the pan for 20 minutes, or at this point, maybe about 15 minutes, and then we will get this out of the pan.
That's pretty good, you know, Eric?
Yes.
I love that cool a little bit longer because without dense the fruits and stuff.
Oh.
I'm gonna let it set just a little bit longer.
We might be able to do that. Yeah. I'm not worried. I've actually made quite a few of these over the years, so I'm not. Yeah, so not to worry. I think things turn out well. And cooking with Bobby Joe, yeah, I am. As I said, I really like how this turned out.
Bobby Joe, how's the cake pan? The pan.
The pan. Yeah, she made a pizza in that BSR skillet actually, and it turned out pretty darn good. That's for sure. So
I'll go check it out.
Yeah. Okay, having done that. Now that we've done, okay, let's see how can we do this. Let's do it this way. I've got to move this out of the side. Let's move this back over to here, and let's carefully take this pan. Yeah, did it again. And just move it over here. This is not a heated element here. This one has no heat coming in, so that this cake will slowly cool off. And now we can continue putting our next cake together. Finally. Okay, from here, where was I? Oh, yeah, that's right. We've got this still very dry batter that we've got quite a bit more liquid to add. To be precise, we've got another secret ingredient here to spice up this particular cake, and that, of course, would be booze. I put half a cup of spiced rum into the cake, which of course boils off as the cake bakes, and but does indeed give it an add to the spice. Oh, shut up. Add to the spicy flavor. That's half a cup, mind you, of spiced rum. I know there have been some folks who say, well, actually, not all of the alcohol boils off and other things like that. I have never had any problems with this. The best I could say is that whether or not I've taken it to work or otherwise, there has never been any problem at all with any kind of alcohol residue in this cake. Now from here, the other thing, I've got to quickly get to the fridge here because I've got to get some milk. After the rum, got two more ingredients to come in, and that is milk and honey. I like the way you can actually say milk and honey and add it to the cake. What am I missing here? Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, so we do half a cup of milk, whole milk for the record. I have never tried using almond milk or the like in this cake. I don't see why it wouldn't work. Because after all, it's not like it's not like the makeup or the consistency of milk will make or break this cake. Yeah, that was an unintentional bit of rhyming there. And then finally, after that, we've got half a cup of honey.
I'm not gonna break that cake, but I'm gonna smash it.
Yeah. Please do. That one's going to be your cake, especially because with that particular cake, I forgot to add the raisins. And Jamie, actually, that's just her taste. She's not that fond of raisins. So that particular fruit cake that is sitting right here does not have raisins in it. And she is free to smash as much of it as she wants. So as you can see, I've just put half a cup each of the spiced rum, milk, and honey. So that is some additional liquid, at least, that will help to turn this into more of your typical cake batter, rather than just the dry stuff. So as you can see, this is already starting to mix together much better now that we've added that much more liquid. As I mentioned before, with this recipe, one thing that among other things I like about this recipe is the fact that, again, I do so much with the batter here, that this actually, it's not just fruit pieces held together by a very bland batter. The cake itself has quite a taste to it. A couple of times I have made this recipe without the fruit. I just simply made all the actual cake batter with the spices and the rum and everything like that, and it still turned out to be a very tasty spice cake. So there you go as well. If you've got people here who will refuse to eat this just because it's fruitcake, you can you can tell a little white lie and tell them this is a spice cake, because technically that's what it is, a spice cake with fruit in it. All right, having done that, now we get, speaking of spices, now we get to add some real spices. So let's pull this in. And here we go. As a New Englander, I am very fond of using ground cloves. We use about half a teaspoon of this. And yeah, likewise, cooking with Bobby Joe, or anybody else or everybody else, really, yeah. As I've said, I'm showing off this recipe because, yeah, I like how this turned out. And I would indeed encourage folks to try it because, again, if you're the type of person who has only had store-bought fruitcake and you're thinking, oh my God, why the heck is he making a fruitcake? The best I could say is try it and see. And I'm confident you will not be disappointed. We are also adding 2 teaspoons of cinnamon here. Cinnamon. And along with this, we add another traditional ingredient. That's a teaspoon of nutmeg. One teaspoon of nutmeg. And then one of my favorite spices, cardamom. Not only because of the what's the word really the word you can get with cardamom? You know, it's not the same as ginger. Ginger is wonderful in its own, but there's just something about cardamom. It has its own sensation, I guess you could say, especially since this year, for the first time in my case, I actually ground up cardamom pods to make ground cardamom. And boy, does that give this a pungent aroma. So I'm quite happy with that. So there we are. Those are our spices that will go into the cake. Well, with one exception. Now that we've done this, I've got one other thing I need to add. And that would be after all these spices, we are now going to do some zesting. So let me quickly pull out here. One lemon and one orange. In this case, a navel orange. But the actual kind of, whether it's navel or mandarin, I'm sure there's probably a slight difference if you use maybe a navel orange rather than a mandarin. But really, it's hardly earth-shattering. Where the heck did I... Oh, there it is. Okay. A reminder once again, folks, we are doing a giveaway of this cast iron pan, and that if folks, all you need to do is to subscribe to the this YouTube channel and just at least once type in the secret word in this chat so that we can log it. I love zesting. Zesting, whoever invented zesting really is a genius, or was a genius, I should say, because I don't know how it even works. The fact that peels, as you know, orange peels are bitter, lemon peels are even more bitter, and this isn't exactly sweet either, but this stuff is just pure flavor. It's like you put a wonderful orange, or citrusy, I should say, flavor in your cake by doing this. And ever since I started zesting, putting fresh zest into my cakes, I have never turned back. This stuff is wonderful. And it's really not that hard to do either, as you can see. Pretty much anybody can do this. And I'm sure there are professionals who would likely say I'm doing a terrible job. In fact, I'm probably leaving a lot of it behind. All I know is that gives us there we go. Just all I really got to do is cover pretty much every part of this. And then after this, we will as Jamie suggested, we will probably use the lemon and the orange, especially to make a citrus glaze to go over our finished fruitcake. And I'm almost done with the orange. Okay. Hi, Peg2. It says Shadow Walker XM. Jose Lachias. If I wasn't such a chicken, I'd do stand-up comedy. Nah, in a way, I know the feeling, so all too well. I freeze when I get up on stage here. So, okay, we've got the orange. Now, let me just peel off this paper thing because no, I do not want to shred paper into this cake. That's one thing I'm not going to include. And from here, what time is it now? 8:43. We've got about 7 minutes to go before the cake comes out of the pan. I hope I don't see it. I hope I didn't pop that navel off into the cake. Well, and I am not seeing it. Okay, that's good. So, anyway, as I mentioned already, we've zested an orange. We are now zesting a lemon. And then after this, we will squeeze these and get the juices out to make ourselves a glaze. And yeah, that is definitely something I'm looking forward to, too. Jamie taught me that to do the world's easiest glaze, and I'm very happy with how that turned out. Really, all it is just pretty much 2 ingredients, powdered sugar and lemon juice. Or in this case, it's going to be lemon and orange juice. You just put in the right amounts of each, mix it together, and you've got yourself a wonderful citrus glaze that I'm going to be more than happy to put on this cake. There we go. That didn't take long. I just keep talking and talking and talking because I really don't want to fill airtime here. The one thing I don't want is dead air. Even though you can see the pieces of the peel here, the citrus peel, this is actually going to dissolve very nicely. In these times, I have yet to see an instance where I've made a cake or anything else using zest and then actually had to pull pieces of the peel out of it. It seems to dissolve very nicely, and all that you're left with is pure flavor. And now that we've done that, time to throw in our fruits. So here's where the fun begins, as Han Solo says. Let's start off with 2 cups of our 2 cups of our chopped dried fruits. As I mentioned, we've got some dates, some apricots, some dried cranberries, and some dried pineapple. There we go. Not entirely dry, although dried enough. To that, we also throw in maybe about 1.5 cups of sultanas and raisins. That sure is a fancy word, isn't it? Sultana. Well, on the other hand, golden raisin is pretty fancy as well. Next, we throw in our candied citrus peel, our candied orange peel. There we go. And somewhere over here, where did I put it? Here it is. We also have some chopped up apple, fresh apple, not dried apple. Largely because it's a lot cheaper and easier to find. It's not easy finding dried apple pieces the way you can find raisins, and it's not worth it. I'd rather just simply chop up an apple, and that's really all you need. And finally, some candied ginger. And there we go. Yeah, this is definitely, look at this. It's like we've got so much fruit here. When we mix all this together, oh yeah, this is definitely going to be one heck of a fruitcake. And now at this point, I have, yes indeed, chopped apples add moistness. There is that too, yes, that's a very good point. Helps to add moisture to the cake. So thank you for the comment. Sounds great, as opposed to weird glow-in-the-dark fake cherries. Oh, yeah, those things. Ugh. Yeah, believe you me, those are what really turned me off to fruitcake for much of my life as well, especially since my dad always had this strange taste. He liked fruitcake. He liked store-bought fruitcake. As a result, we not only did we get a fruitcake every year for Christmas, even though I ate it, I believe you me, I could not stomach those weird green candied cherry things. On the other hand, the funny thing is, I have no idea where he found this, but every year for Easter, we would get a fruitcake egg. Basically, a fruitcake wrapped up in foil, candy foil, the kind that you wrap candies up in the shape of an egg. Yeah, it was a fruitcake on Easter, and we would have that every year. So, but definitely, once I started making my own fruitcake, then that's when I realized that when you do this right, this is absolutely delicious. And I can only encourage everybody to do that. So, hello, Granny Graham and Terry Sinchef. Looks like you could use a bigger bowl. No, actually, I think this is doing pretty good. This is a pretty big bowl, though. I won't deny that. You need a really big bowl to mix this stuff. And here's the other tradition, where, as you know, folks often say you get the entire family to help stir this. But that's probably because this batter is so thick here. And that would certainly be one reason why. And now, having said that, it's about time to take the cake out. However, before we do so, I'd like to ask one other question. I'm debating really what kind of fruitcake we're going to use in this. On one hand, I have the large cast iron fluted cake pan. And let me bring this out right now. Clang, clang, clang. Here is the large fluted cake pan, which is really actually maybe a fraction of an inch smaller than this vintage Bundt pan. However, I'm debating whether we use this or let me get the other thing I might want to use. What other cake pan are we using? Well, as a matter of fact, didn't we just see this last week, folks? The gate-marked 19th century cake pan. I'm thinking, what if we made our fruitcake in this rather than the Bundt pan? I'm not sure, and I can't decide. So I'm thinking, how about you folks comment? Let's see what we want to make this with. Either one, boy, that's heavy, or the other. But either way, we have a little time to decide because it's time to flip the cake. So let me get this out of the way, because I don't want to drop it or spill it or anything like that. That would not be fun. And let's get ourselves a little cake platter here. And finally, how hot is this at this point? I don't. Yeah, I'll definitely need the gloves to take that to flip this. However, let's see if we can't get a better view here. Let's try moving this up a little bit. There we go. That's pretty good. All right. Now, what we do is loosen the edges. Although, as you can see, we barely need to loosen these edges at all. It looks like it's coming away very nicely. So far, so good. Which means the key part is on the inside here, which also seems to be pulling away nicely. So at this point, I guess we are at the moment of truth. Let me dig up those gloves again. And here's the part where everybody holds their breath, including myself. Okay, here we go. Let's get this out. Put this over. And it's time for the flip. Careful. Oh, by the way, if you notice, there are sprue marks, these tiny little what look like dents on the bottom. These are sprue marks from where this was cast. And having said that, here we go. Let's see what happens. Is it going to slip out of my grasp? Or am I going to ruin it? Oh, crap. Here we go again. One other second. Here's where we've got one and the other. Okay. Here's a little trick that I kind of learned. This seems to help brace the pan and help lift it. So all we can do is hope this works. Come on. Come on. Damn it. This is not working. Okay, that's still not working. Yeah, that's one disadvantage, I will admit, but at least you can see this in action. All right, so how are we going to do this? At least with the large pan, I was able to use those handles. There's one. Okay, this is turning out a little more difficult than I thought. But if we do this right, maybe we will get this going. Come on. God, oh, mother. Can't say any more than that. This thing is just sliding right off. The seasoning is so good. I cannot get a good grip on this. Okay. Let's see. Time to try something stupid. Like maybe this. All right. Believe me, I do not want to ruin this cake, folks. But, well, it looks like we've got to try to be creative here. How the heck am I going to do this? There's one end. And good grief, what the heck is going on here? One. This may be one of the most difficult cakes I have ever lifted, and I'm not exaggerating, I'm sorry to say. However, come on, what the blazes is going on here? Yeah, I'm getting a little frustrated because it should be much easier than this. Come on, you bugger. And I'm not going to say anything more than that. This, gee, has Alton Brown ever had this problem? Uh-oh. What do we have? Well, if we're not careful, we could... And... ha ha! Oh man, that was a lot more difficult than I thought. But we got it. And even despite all of that, and even though I kind of cracked the cake just because I had so much difficulty getting it out, it didn't stick. Oh, wow. Oh man. Tamara Sanders, I don't think I want that heavy cake pan. Sorry. I honestly don't blame you, quite frankly. However, I will say, check out my previous YouTube videos where I have actually made quite a few cakes in this pan. But yes, baking in a cast iron cake pan does require some practice. I will not deny that. So considering that, I can only, obviously it would be, you get what you pay for. In the first place, you're going to be getting, whoever wins this is going to be getting it for free. That includes shipping. And in the second place, although there was a learning curve involved, I have, again, I'm actually quite proud of the cakes I have made in this. Like this one, for instance. This actually, despite everything, this one turned out pretty good. It's only that, as I mentioned, I don't think I've ever had this much difficulty getting a cake out of this cast iron pan before. And yet, it still did not stick. So, anyway, here's a close-up of the cake. And having said that, let me move this over a little bit. No, I don't want to drop that on the floor. And now let me show you, finally, after all this, the cast iron cake pan, which, nice and solid, as you can see. Again, it's actually maybe a fraction of an inch bigger than the Lodge cake pan. But other than that, it's, as you can see, very sturdy build, both the inside and the outside, which, as I mentioned, you see these little sprue marks here on the bottom. That indicates as well that it's either an independent or amateur made, although it's very nicely made nonetheless, or it's simply old, like maybe from the 19th century or so. I do not know enough of the history of this pan to be able to tell you that. I've built up several years worth of seasoning on this pan in that, and I am going to clean this up as well. I'm going to wash it off and clean it up before shipping it out to you so that you will be able to use this right out of the box. I can only apologize again for the difficulty. However, nonetheless, see farther, looks delicious. I hope you do enjoy it. And yeah, Pay Smith, yeah, thank you for the laugh. Yes. Well, again, I am encouraging that. I am the first to, I've said this many times, I am not a professional. Gee, can you tell from the way I did this? All of this I've done really for the fun of it, because this is a hobby to me more than anything else. Even though I am actually monetized and YouTube does pay me for this somehow, really the main point is just the enjoyment here. Because yeah, this was fun, especially since, hey, we got it to work. And now that I've said that, let's do something else here. Specifically, let's put this aside right now. I think I'll put the cake aside so that you can continue looking at the cake pan. Oh yeah. Yeah, this turned out actually pretty well, Jamie. Yeah. Gotta put this to the side, and then we've got to continue. Well, yeah, that's where the heck. Okay, 1 second, please, folks. Thank you again. So, on the side, move that. There we go. And now, let's go to the other part. basically, I want to fill up the other pan and put it in the oven. At which point, then I think we'll be able to call it a night because, well, we've accomplished everything we've set out to do. Are you gonna put some glaze on top? Yes, actually, we've got a very simple glaze plan for this. So, having said that, oh, I know what part of the problem was. That wooden platter was so small. I really could not get a handle on that. That's why I had so much trouble being able to reach underneath it. So that was also partially my fault. Not really so much the fault of the cake pan, but I used a very small platter. And I only just realized that right now. Again, I used a small platter that was only maybe a little bit bigger than this cake pan itself. So as I said, that was my own fault. And it still looks amazing. Yeah, I certainly thought so too. So silicone oven mitts for Christmas. Hey, that sounds like a plan. I'm not disagreeing with you one bit. All right, now that we've done all that, okay. Meanwhile, we've got another cake to prepare. So, when is Lodge retiring Rosie the Riveter pan? I do not know. I am not privy to Lodge Cast Iron's schedule. What I do know is that they've already retired the Made in America pan from last year, which was the first Rosie the Riveter. This one, who knows? It could be open ended. After all, they produced the Buffalo Nickel pan for several years. So there's no saying that they might discontinue Rosie after this year, or they might keep her going. I guess it probably really depends on how well the pan sells more than anything else. So, having said that, I'd like to ask again, how can we decide this? Um, would folks like me to make this next cake in another cake pan, or in this cake pan, the gate marked one? I'm sorry. Or Jamie wants me to bring out the Monarch. That might not be a bad idea in itself. The other option, well, folks here are saying gate mark, both Turk's head. There is one other option, as Jamie suggested, and that last option would be this, the Monarch. Which, hey, by the way, look at this. You see how much larger this cake pan is than the Monarch? Let me pull this down a little bit. There we go. Take a look. This is the other cake pan that I acquired recently, the Monarch. And look how much smaller this is than this vintage cake pan here. So folks are still saying Turk head at this point. If we were all professionals, we wouldn't be watching videos about cooking. Yeah, tell me about it. So if you turn the platter over, it would have been easier to get the pan off of it. Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with any of these comments here. Jose Latias says use the Monarch. Uncle Ted says use the cornstick pan. And Dos Vasquez Farms is still saying Turk's cap. And we've got the Monarch. I've been watching a while. I've never commented. Finally took the plunge. Well, thank you. Thank you again, Debbie Vogel. So far we've got 2 votes for the Monarch and a couple more still for the Turk head. So, and we're still seeing Turk head would be cool. One person says a skillet. Mike Beatty says a skillet. All right. Well, I can't.
What's Turk's head?
The Turk's head is the.
You want to cheese it?
It is the that's the cake pan. This cake pan. That's the Turk head. So.
Well, listen. Hold on.
Yes.
This cake pan is a lot smaller.
Yes,
okay?
It is.
You're probably gonna have batter left over that you can do a couple of these anyways.
You're probably right.
Yep.
So.
All right. 100%.
Yeah.
Guarantee you.
Yeah. Jamie points out that because this cake pan is so small, I'm probably gonna have batter left over, which means I would have to use the Turk's head pan for it anyway. So that actually sounds like a plan in itself, I think.
Jamie wicked smart.
Yeah, Jamie wicked smart. All right. Either way, though, got to make a little bit of room for all these things here. And while we're doing that, I've got to do a little bit more preparation. Oh, good. This thing's actually cooled off now to the point where it's still warm, but it's not going to burn my hand. So I can now put it. So it means I can just lift it with my hands, which is making me feel a lot better. All right. As I said, yeah. Yeah, here's another look again. Let me actually, especially since this is the prize that we're going to be doing, let's redo our view here so that folks can see both. This again is the cake pan that is going to be given away tonight. Here is the cake batter. I do not want to spill it. And here is the Monarch. So let's move the Monarch to one side here. Yeah, because in addition, I've got one other little bit of preparation to do, and that would be baker's goop. Actually, let's move this to the side so that folks can see what's going on. Baker's goop, which I've learned, you know, how flouring and greasing and flouring a pan is actually a good way to bake a cake. But if you're not careful, it can leave flour stains on the outside of the cake, you know, this white layer that nobody likes. And so because of this, I've learned one other option is to make what they call baker's goop. And that is where we have equal parts each of flour, grease, shortening, and oil. So that means we're going to do a couple tablespoons of flour. Try not to spill it all over the place. There we go. Gonna do maybe about a tablespoon and a half. They should be equal portions of Crisco, which is probably my favorite pan grease for greasing pans. There we go. And Crisco. And to this, finally, let's cover the Crisco so nothing gets in it. Finally, to this, I just had it here. I hope I didn't put it away. Yes, I did. 1 second. Yeah. Oh, damn it. Okay. All right. Put that aside. Finally, getting this all over the place. Couple of tablespoons of canola oil. 1 and 2. There we go. And now we mix. And what the hell? Okay, let's do that right. Now we just mix it all together, and we will have ourselves some baker's goop. Now, this stuff is actually pretty bitter. After all, there's no sugar in this. This is just that. It's flour, oil, and shortening. But it does a pretty darn good job of coating a cake pan. So, there we go. That's about all we need at this point. There we go. Now this is nice and greasy, which means it's time again to bring out the Monarch. And yeah, she's right. I mean, especially if I don't fill this thing all the way up, it's likely, I mean, there's probably going to be plenty of batter left over. So let's see if I can get a better view here of both of these pans. There we go. That's pretty good. Cast iron loves lard. Yes, it does. So now, especially with all of these little nooks and crannies, as we say in English with English muffins, oh, great, get that all over the place. Now we be nice and generous and start smearing our baker's goop into every possible space and opening. And this is why I like using this stuff. It's easy to see where it's, what's coated and what is not. So we're off to a pretty good start here already. And it also does not take very long. No need to be shy, that's for sure. Let's go here. Make sure we go through all of these crevices because there are quite a few crevices here. Oh boy, this has been a busy evening. I appreciate everybody who's been watching, and I'm sorry I haven't really said too much about the comments. It's unfortunately, again, this has been a very, very busy recipe here. A reminder, once again, we are actually having a contest, and we are, in fact, going to be giving away this cast iron cake pan, which, despite everything, as you saw, no, the cake did not stick. So it was my own fault for using, I made a couple of mistakes, including using a tray that was far too small. But there we go. This is definitely smeared now in the baker's goop. So that means we can turn over this way and start adding some batter. That's the other thing. This stuff is so thick, you literally have to scoop it in. Plop. Come on. Okay. Little by little. All right, come on, a little by little. There we go. Now we got a nice dollop of it there. And another dollop of it here. And I'm only going to fill it maybe about halfway or so because, as I mentioned before, this recipe, this cake rises terrific. So we're really not even going to have to fill this thing all the way, and there is indeed going to be quite a bit of batter left over. There we go. Maybe one more. All right, let's quickly spread this out. There we go. A little bit here, a little bit there. So we are off to a pretty decent start here. And now that we've done this much, let's bring out the other pan, the Turk head pan. All right, we'll move this one to the side. Boy, this is heavy. Whew, this is fun. Anyway. Oh yeah, I know why folks keep coming back here. You get all kinds of entertainment, including the unexpected kind. And here is our Turk head pan. So let's start smearing in the rest of this baker's goop. Let's do this one. This one. There's no real need to space it out, but I don't see why not. Okay. Let's do here. And maybe one more here. So far, so good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I've only used half of this pan, in fact. So from here, let's quickly be sure this stuff covers every crevice. Again, that's the key point to it. And now we get to scoop a little bit more into here. Wow, this is, this is not going to be difficult at all, is it? Here's one. Here's two. In fact, from the looks of it, I may be able to fill up the entire thing. Two. Too much, too much. 3. Come on. There we go. Yeah, this is actually I think I might very well be able to fill up this entire thing and put any extra back in the Monarch, in fact. 4, 5, and 6. And we are not done yet. All right. Probably move a little bit this back to here. Did I mention before that I'm not a professional? I think I've pretty much demonstrated that here. Which again is one reason why I appreciate anybody who actually shows up to watch.
You're real.
Well, yeah, I'm real, that's for sure. Real what?
You're a real person. You're not fake. You know what I mean?
No, that's
You're authentic.
well, yeah.
And you're humble.
Okay, don't start there. But I will not disagree about the authentic part. I do my best to be authentic. I mean, as you can see, because I'm doing this live, when I make mistakes, and boy, do mistakes happen here. There's no way for me to edit them out, and folks can see when that happens. Yeah, take a look at the cake. Like I said, it actually did come out, even though I did end up cracking the cake. I kind of discouraged one person, in fact, from actually entering the contest because of that. But yeah, but no, that's my own fault. Oh yeah, there is a learning curve anyway. I mean, wasn't it?
Also on camera, it's harder to do it on camera than it is if you're not on camera.
No, that's certainly true. Yes, yeah. Doesn't help that I still tend to freeze up on camera like that.
Yeah.
In addition, wasn't it just a couple of weeks ago our neighbor here was wanted to borrow one of my cake pans to make a birthday cake? Yes, she wanted to use the cast iron cake pan, and I talked her out of it. For the main reason was that I was afraid that her cake would stick. Yeah, because there's folks who bake in cast iron know that if you're not careful, I mean, if you don't know what you're doing, and even when you do know what you're doing, there is still a risk that any cake you bake could end up being unfortunately ruined. And in fact, I think I better throw a little bit more Crisco in here in order to get this to work. Like maybe here. Oh yeah, that's much better. Okay, a little bit here. Come on, and here. And now finally, all right, now that we've done that, let's finish with the Turk head pan, as the folks asked for. You asked for the Turk head pan, you are getting the Turk head pan. And especially because these cups are so small, this is probably not going to take anywhere near as long to bake as that big cake pan did. Yeah, no, I mean, frankly, when using that cast iron cake pan, making a fruit cake as dense and heavy with this, it actually took an hour and a half to bake, 90 minutes, in fact. I baked it at 300 degrees for 90 minutes, especially because this is so thick and the pan is so big as well that, you don't want to burn the outside but leave the inside undercooked. So we've got to do the low and slow method. And that meant baking it at 300 degrees for 90 minutes. Here, we're still going to bake it at 300 degrees, but it's likely that this Turk head pan will probably be done at the most in 60 minutes. Maybe not even that much. But nonetheless, this one might be a little much. Let's transfer this into here. There you go, folks. Just as you asked. Here is the Turk head pan full of fruitcake batter. And finally, the rest of it, we will just simply put into the Monarch. So yes, Jamie was right. We could do both with no difficulty at all. All right, here's the rest of it. And at this point, I think we're getting on to it. I'm starting to get tired, quite frankly. This has been a lot of effort. However, we have. I am reminding everybody again that this is a giveaway contest here for a cast iron cake pan, not this one. I'm sorry? I could put it in the oven tomorrow. Yes, that's certainly true. So, however, nonetheless, there we are. Now we've got two things. Well, I think I might as well get it over with tonight. Oh yes, I'm aware of that. Okay, and can you change the flavors of each before baking? Stir a fork in spirits or molasses? Well, I don't see why not. The important thing, of course, is that it's got to bake thoroughly, so I've got to have to keep a good eye on it. But nonetheless, here we are. Okay, let me get these in the oven. And then from there, I'll finally be able to look at some of the comments. So as always, again, I very much appreciate your time on this, folks. Okay, let's put in, on one side we have the Monarch. And on the other side, the Turk head pan, which would be the first time this pan has actually baked anything in what, decades? So I'm actually quite happy with that. All right, now finally, let's bring this out one more time, because again, this is the major point of this particular video. Here again is the cast iron cake pan, which I will repeat is actually not a Bundt pan. It is the same shape as a Bundt pan. It was probably produced before they came up with the term Bundt pan. Excuse me. I just unplugged my network connection. There we go. Hope that helped. Anyway. Hi, everyone. Hello, Turner Fowler. Sorry that you're late. Well, as we mentioned already, we are actually as well in the middle of a giveaway contest. We ask that everybody who wants to take part in the or be entered into the contest, that you subscribe to the YouTube channel, and that you take the time to type the secret word at least once into the into the chat, so that it can be logged and you will be entered into the contest. And as I mentioned already, this is the prize that the winner will receive. This is a cast iron fluted cake pan, which is the same shape as a Bundt, but it's not a Bundt because it was not made by Nordic Ware. However, it is a genuine and very heavy cast iron cake pan that I've made quite a few cakes with over the years. And I really haven't detailed yet the story of how I found this, which is actually very brief as well. Now, it was in 2013. Like so many other cast iron cooks, I guess, I have indeed been keeping an eye out for a cast iron cake pan, because it really would have been nice to have one of those things of my very own. And I was scanning on YouTube, and then lo and behold, it was in fact on eBay that I actually managed to score this. And even though we've seen these pans on sale on eBay going for literally hundreds of dollars, I still managed to somehow end up getting this one for a total of $30. And I was as shocked as anybody.
Shaking, visibly shaking.
Oh, this is a different one. This was back in 2013. I got this on eBay. Yes, no, no, that was the Monarch. No, but no, this I got on eBay for $30, and the best I could figure was this. I lucked out. The reason why is when I put in a bid for this, I put in a maximum bid of $30. I might have even been more. And I figured that if I was going to be outbid, that I would be outbid. However, I just happened to have chosen an eBay listing auction that ended at 5 p.m. on December 24th, Christmas Eve. And I think just because for that reason, more than anything else, it seemed to slip under the radar of the usual snipers. And I ended up scoring this for $30. and I since put it to use. As I said, there are several. I've made several videos of making cakes with this. I've made devil's food cake. I've made fudge cake. I made a southern moonshine cake. And this is the pan in which I also came up with a recipe for a Bundt apple pie. That is a pie in a Bundt pan, not a Bundt cake, but an actual pie with a crust and an apple filling. All of those are available on YouTube and on my website. Anyway, I've been I use this very joyfully for several years until in 2018, Lodge came out with its fluted cake pan. It re-released the fluted cake pan for the first time in a good couple of decades. Of course, I acquired the Lodge fluted cake pan, and so I ended up with two of these. And then earlier this year at Brimfield, I managed to run across the Monarch, that other cake pan that is currently baking in the oven right now. And because of that, that actually meant I had three, not one, but three cast iron cake pans. And I realized then, and I realize now, I myself do not have a need for three cast iron cake pans. So I could have just simply put this on eBay and probably sold it for anywhere between $100 to $200, but I thought it would be better to pass it on to someone who would really get some good use out of it, not someone who would just simply resell it, stick it on a shelf at some antique mall or anything like that. I want folks to use this. And so as a result, here it is. As you can see as well, despite the fact that these cast iron Bundt pans, are incredibly rare and sell for extremely high prices, I do not. Yeah, I mean, what can I say? I paid $30 for this. I used it for a good 7 years or so. So on the whole, I got some good use out of it for my money. I'm not exactly going broke by giving it away. So if you're wondering why there is a catch of how I could give away something so extremely rare as a free prize, that's how. That is my story of this cast iron cake pan, one of which I'm very pleased actually to have the opportunity to give away to a lucky winner. And as I said again, when this live video ends, the contest will end. I will then take the time to tally up the names of everyone who has typed in the secret word. At which point, then they will be put into a list, and I will use a random number generator to determine the winner. I have no idea who the winner will be, and I'm doing my best to be fair and honest to everyone. Okay. That pretty much is my story here. So, and Celtic cast iron, I assume it's Celtic. I mean, here in Boston, we have the Boston Celtics, but Celtic cast iron, yeah, well, I'm glad you appreciate it. Thursdays with Thor, I made a ham, cheese, and broccoli bake with a crescent top for Christmas morning. Ooh, that sounds pretty darn good. I'll say that much. So, and hello to Trash Man and Lisa V, the Transformers. And likewise, yeah, I want somebody to appreciate it. I agree with Tricky Vicky. That's really why I would do that. So, and Tricky Vicky says I would make a chocolate flan. Ooh, that sounds pretty good. Right. So yeah, it was a really good score, Sean Caldwell, and I'm very proud of it. I've been fortunate enough to have made a few good scores. The score I made with Brimfield with the Monarch cake pan might even surpass this, which is another reason why I am not going to give away or sell the Monarch, and I don't see myself doing that. Also, I like the fact that the Monarch is a different shape than the Lodge cake pans. So not only do I have two cast iron cake pans still after tonight, they're different. And that will be a good excuse to use both of them, which is again why I did not have a need for this, because I have the Lodge cake pan. You see, it's sitting right over there, in fact. And so as a result, for almost the past 3 years, this has been sitting on my rack unused. I don't want that. I don't want to be a hoarder. I would rather, I would rather get some use out of my collection. And that's, again, is why I am more than happy to give this away as a prize tonight or tomorrow. Okay, so yeah, it's a nice size too. You saw how much bigger it is than the Monarch. And Tricky Vicky, I'll save this to my recipe playlist. And yeah, again, I really enjoy this recipe, and I really, really hope that folks are kind enough to give this recipe a try. These days, of course, it can cost some money to get yourself some dried fruit, but regardless of how it turns out, as I mentioned, make this recipe without the fruit if you want, and you can just have yourself a nice spice cake, and I think you will like it even then. So, James Ramsdale was talking about if you don't need the vinegar to de-rust a spray bottle with 50-50 neutralize. Yeah, that's right. Talking about using a lye tank. Can you change the flavors of each before baking? Stir in or fork in spirits or molasses? I don't see why not. The real important thing is the consistency. And so if you use a different flavor alcohol, you could certainly do so, or even not use alcohol, but use something else. So the only people who don't make mistakes are people who don't do anything. Boy, is that ever the truth. And thank you very much for those kind words. I used rendered bacon grease to brown a rabbit today in my cast iron Dutch oven. Oh, that sounded pretty good. I had a chopped onion, 3 cube yellow potatoes, and lots of black pepper. So anyway, yeah, the goop is a great tip. Yeah, I learned about baker's goop, and that is really a game changer. It is a really great way to do baking without, yeah, as I mentioned, you don't get the flour stains on the outside of the cake in that case. So I'm wondering if you didn't like Lodge for a reason. Well, that's where we get into the criticisms of modern day Lodge, which we've addressed here quite a few times. You know, people say that modern day Lodge has a rough surface, and it does. However, they do take the time to smooth out their pans. Yes, they do. They just do not polish them to mirror smoothness. And furthermore, you can still cook just fine. You can cook nonstick in modern day Lodge, and I very much do so. Okay, now I probably spent more on your ingredients today than you did for your pan. Yeah, tell me about it. So that is all too true these days. That may be one reason why fruitcake is only done at Christmas, because yeah, it definitely takes some expense and some effort. But as I said, you might even want to try it without the fruit and have yourself a spice cake and see how you like it. Now, finally, I think before we head out tonight, I will do one more thing, and that is, as Jamie had asked for, let's make a glaze here to go with this cake. And then I think we will be done. Wait, it's been a long day. Okay, that means we get to take this, and we just need the orange and the lemon. Well, actually, let's move this over a little bit. There we go. The orange and the lemon. And let me break out the powdered sugar here. Jamie. Are you out here? Oh, I guess she must be asleep. Sorry. Anyway, it's really no more than 2 ingredients, and it's really no more than powdered sugar and juice. So let's do this right, shall we? Let us. Well, if we're going to do this right, here it is. Here is my. Okay. We're going to dig ourselves out about a cup of powdered sugar. There we go. And now we will start with our juice, which means somewhere here, here's the knife. So we've got this lemon and also the orange. There we go. Nice rind on this orange. That's one thing you could say definitely about navel oranges. And I better dig out. Here we go. This would be a nice thing to stir it with. And well, here we go. Start with the juice. Orange juice here. Yeah, that's one. Now comes two. Yeah. Let's do this right. There we go. So we've got a little bit of juice already, and let's start with the mixing. It happens every time with powdered sugar. Got to be careful not to, it's like starch, you get it all over the place. So far, so good. Come on, let's do this right, shall we? That was easy. As you saw, all I had to do was squeeze that orange in, and we're already getting ourselves a nice glaze here. And remember, that was a cup of powdered sugar. Still, we're off to a pretty good start here. There we go. At this point, I think I better wait here and dig out a whisk. And here it goes. So anyway, yeah, there we go. We got the world's easiest glaze here. All we did was mix in a little orange juice into this powdered sugar. You saw we squeezed it in. And actually, we got a very nice consistency here. I might not even have to continue. So anyway, as I said, that is a very simple citrus glaze. 2 ingredients. Hard to get simpler, more easy than that, isn't it? So far, so good. And this is going to be a nice glaze to top our cake. Having said that, probably will need more powdered sugar, says Cheshire Cat. And I don't see why not. Let's throw in maybe a tad more powdered sugar. And if we have to, we can even mix in the lemon juice. Probably wouldn't be a bad idea in itself. There we go. Boy, usually it's a lot harder to make these glazes, I would say, but right now I'd say that wasn't hard at all. Furthermore, you know it's sweet because we've got all this powdered sugar in it. Okay, having said that, yeah, long day already and several cast iron pieces dirty as well. Well, what can I say? I'm the one who chose to do these live videos. What kind of exercises healed your left wrist? All I did was they just assigned some basic stretching, bending exercises more than anything else. That plus lifting weights. Guess what kind of weights I lifted? So, and thank you very much for asking, I guess. Was this fruitcake? No, this was fruitcake for people that don't like fruitcake. So no wrapping in cheesecloth. Yes, that's certainly true. Unless you want to. If you want to soak this fruitcake in rum, that's your choice. However, I like the taste of this cake, and you don't have to drown it in rum in order for it to taste good. Unlike that one from Walmart. Turn it upside down on top of the lodge. I think they're the same pattern except the handles. Yes, they are. This is the same pattern, in fact. I've got an unboxing video of the Lodge cake pan in which I actually did compare the difference between the Lodge cake pan and this. The Lodge cake pan actually is more professionally made. Jamie, I've already made your... Oh, I've got both of them here. I used it to try to lift the cake. Sorry about that. Anyway, I've already made your citrus glaze. So far, all I've used is the orange juice.
Yeah.
Here, try this. See what you think.
This is like... I can't taste anything.
Oh, you can't?
No, I taste the sugar.
Okay.
You gotta do like lemon juice, right? The glaze I made.
I haven't done the lemon juice yet. All I've done is orange juice.
Yeah, no, but the orange juice isn't very strong from that.
Okay.
Did you do it from the orange or orange juice?
I did it from the orange, but you're saying you can't really taste it. Be honest.
Orange juice.
Okay.
Actual orange juice.
How about if I mix some of the lemon juice in with it?
I dropped that.
What?
I dropped that and use orange juice. Actual orange juice right here.
Okay, so you just want to use more orange juice then?
No, I'm saying drop that down.
When you
empty it out, empty the.
Oh, make another one. Okay.
Because orange juice is gonna have a lot more flavor than just juice from an orange.
Okay. Well, actually, I could just throw more in here, I guess.
You're gonna have to all right.
All right.
Just start over.
Okay. You want me to start over? Okay.
It's okay here. Don't. It's just.
Well, okay.
Oh. There you go.
All right. There we go. And now we just throw in some more sugar.
Does any of the oranges have any zest left?
Maybe a tiny bit, but
Yeah,
not
zest
much.
of orange
So,
too.
okay. Would you say more sugar
Yeah,
than I
way,
think?
yeah.
Way more sugar. Okay. All right. I will. I mean, you've made this kind of thing many
You can also add a little bit
times.
of cornstarch to it to thicken it up.
Well, there is that. Whoops. Well, there's definitely more sugar now. In fact, maybe too much.
No, you'd be surprised. A lot of liquid goes blue.
Little liquid goes a
Yeah,
long
there you
way.
go, yeah.
Oh yeah. Other than the fact that I'm spilling sugar all over the place, but still.
You think?
There we go. And we are almost done, folks, by the way. Because as I said, I think we've accomplished everything we set out to do. I will be checking on this maybe in about, oh, I don't know, maybe about another 30 minutes or so to make sure that the cake is done. But see what you think now, Jamie. And then we'll probably call it a night. Okay. Which is one reminder, folks. This is about your last chance here to enter the contest by typing the secret word into the chat.
You're gonna taste orange, just tastes like sugar.
Okay, still tastes like sugar. All right, well,
what's orange? Unfortunately, when in my lemon glaze thing, I made that with lemon juice from the fridge.
What if I mix the lemon juice right into this?
Yeah, it'd be a citrus lemon. It'd be fine.
Yeah, that's
not from the lemon, from this right here.
Oh, you want to use it from the bottle?
Because it's concentrated. It's higher concentrated.
Okay.
And whenever you make, you make the German pancake.
Yes.
The lemon glaze.
Yes.
I use this.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So.
All right. All right. That is actual lemon juice from the bottle, which means a little. Well, actually, before I do, let's just mix this
Mix
in.
it in first.
Yes, mix it in first. There we go.
Because the glaze is not supposed to be thick anyways. Yeah. Think about the lemon glaze I put on the German pancake. It's not thick at all. You don't even see it.
That's true. Okay. Too thin?
No, that's fine. So you don't see. It's not. It's just
Okay.
not seen. It's supposed to be tasted.
All right. Well.
You know?
Okay. Well, then see what you think.
It's for a taste, maybe.
Okay.
It's not that. Look, you can still see it.
Oh yeah, yeah. I guess so. Okay.
Yeah. Still tastes like sugar.
Shit. All right, we'll work on it.
Yeah.
However, nonetheless, as I said, I think we are about where we wanted to be, folks. Because again, it's been a long day. I'm going to be checking the cake in the oven, and I will provide photos as well when it comes out of the oven. And the next time we flip the cake, it's going to be a lot easier. As I said, that was not the fault of the cake pan. That was my own fault because I used a tray that was much too small. Even so, the cake did not stick. And having said that, though, I do believe we are. Oh, yeah, my wife sent me to the store to buy some. Well, good luck with that. You'll find that they don't sell it at the store, not unless maybe you live in England, and even then, probably not. So, on the other hand, it'll be much easier to buy some fruitcake. But why buy it when you can make it? And excuse me. Having said that, I do believe we are at just about the end of our contest here. So we will be tallying the results by tomorrow and determining the winner. This will be chosen completely at random, and I have no idea who the winner will be any more than anyone else does. But good luck to everybody. And thank you so much to everybody for hanging around as well. Even so, we've gone, boy. These things started out only at about an hour in length, and all of them these days seem to be going more than an hour and a half. So, yeah, that's pretty exhausting, but I very much appreciate everybody who shows up. That's really what makes these fun, probably as much as the cooking, and definitely more than the cooking. I think I'll say that. Having said that, though, nonetheless, we will see what happens tomorrow. And anyway, next week, as I mentioned, we are going to be doing some more Christmas baking, and that's where we're going to be breaking out some John Wright baking molds. And on that note, I do believe we are going to we will be ending this when the and Jamie says good night. And thank you, everybody. Thank you, Jose Latias, One Pen Man, Dalton Moore, See Further, Kum Look, Steve Cox, Dave, Eve Lee, Debbie Vogel, Cajun Homestead. I can't name everybody, but and Pegtooth and Papa Dan and William Hurt. Yeah, in fact, you three, by the way, I'm going to be messaging you within the next week or so. Not about this contest. This is not related to this contest, and we will continue from there. And have a good night, everybody. Thank you very much. I hope you've enjoyed yourself. That's probably the most important thing. And once again, take care of yourselves, and we'll see you all next Wednesday.